Welcome, friends. My name is Mariana Svarnik, and I'm instructor for this series of Introduction to Sahaja. We are entering our 6th week of this series. And so today we will talk about a bit and then meditate on the 4th energy center. Now, if any of you have any questions at any point or any comments, you can use the chat, or you can use a Q&A, whichever works better for you, and type your questions there, and I will address them. So last week we looked at 2 energy centers here, the 2nd and the 3rd energy center, and a little bit also at this area that we call void, that is created by the movement of the 2nd energy center around the 3rd energy center. Now, these first three chakras, right, and also this area, they deal with a lot of our sort of simple organic activities, right, and their add-ons, right? So they also deal with our family life and our work and our material well-being. So especially this 3rd energy center here, but ultimately, these are about the daily life and the daily activities, and the activities that we might call mundane, though they are important. And of course, if our foundation is not strong, we cannot reach beyond. We cannot grow further. And so, at this level of the void around the 3rd energy center, this is where our morality is formed, or our ethical awareness and our ability to understand the difference between the right and the wrong, and the ability to do the right thing, even when the right thing is not something that seems like it would directly benefit us. Now, once we reach, though, beyond this level, so once our awareness crosses this path here, this area is sometimes called the ocean of illusions, because all of these things that present as some of the most important things in our lives ultimately often function as illusions, and as the kinds of illusions are trying to distract us from higher goals, or higher levels of awareness. And so when we reach the level of the 4th energy center, the heart chakra, we call it the heart chakra. The heart itself is located on the left of this energy center, and we have the left aspect, the right aspect, and the center aspect. So once we reach this level, it becomes about a different kind of awareness, right? It somehow it starts being more about the subtle than about the obvious. And so it is more about the spiritual, or at least it can be more about the spiritual than just the material, the social, the practical, and things like that. And so in the heart, or in the area of the heart, in the subtle sense, resides our purest sense of self, which is the spirit. And so, we use the affirmation here by putting our right hand on the heart. We say, I am the spirit. And by that, we try to relate to that reality within ourselves. Now, the spirit is the purest, subtlest self that we are, and it is so subtle that often we, unless we really put our attention to it, we tend to ignore it and forget it, right? And we tend to think that I am, and define ourselves through all kinds of other things, through our professions, our gender, our nationality or ethnic background, our family relationships, and things like that, right? Our hobbies a lot. But ultimately, these are all the surface sort of representations of something. And the only ultimate reality, the deepest, the purest, the truest, is that we are the spirit. The spirit, in some ways, is that reflection of the God Almighty, if you want, in us, right? And so it is that part of ourselves that is not destructible. It cannot be damaged in any way. It cannot be affected by anything outward. And the only thing that can happen to it, similarly to what can happen to our inner energy, is that if we ignore it, and especially if we do things that are in principle against our spirit, or against the sort of the essence of our spirit, against the values of our spirit, then spirit sort of kind of withdraws deeper into our being, and we can't really experience it. Now, the way that it manifests is through that feeling of joy and compassion, and in a way, a feeling of a special kind of feeling of security, of knowing, and knowing not mentally, but knowing in truth, right? That nothing can actually trouble us, nothing can harm us, nothing can bother us. Even if our body is destroyed, our spirit still will remain and can be completely unaffected, right? If we grow old and we die, our spirit still remains. If we are living in difficult conditions, our spirit doesn't care, because our spirit is free independently of what conditions we are living in. So it is that kind of in some ways very idealistic, in a good sense, concept. But it's not just a concept. We talk about it as if it's a concept. But what we try to do when we meditate is we try to experience that. And even if we experience a little spark of it, a little glimpse of it, it makes a lot of difference in our meditation, because it is only our spirit that can meditate. Our ego cannot meditate. Our relationships with our family cannot meditate. Our professional achievements do nothing for our meditation, and sometimes they actually make it more difficult for us to meditate, right? All of our belongings, all of other things we might identify with, they cannot meditate. They cannot get us into that state of thoughtless awareness. It is only the spirit that can truly be in meditation. And so when we reach even this first step of being thoughtlessly aware, this is already a sign that our spirit is manifesting itself in us, because that is the spirit who can reach that state only. Now, there are some other aspects of this heart chakra. The Sanskrit name for the chakra is Anahata, which means it means without percussion. So it's the sound without percussion, right? It's that sort of manifestation of our life through the heartbeat in some sense, but subtler than even the physical heartbeat. So on the left side, it's the spirit itself. In the center, there is this the quality there of fearlessness and confidence, and it has a lot to do with with sort of biological manifestations of it. Have to do with one particular aspect of our immunity, right? So the immunity, as in fighting being able to fight any kind of foreign influences when they come within our being, right? So the immune system that sort of builds up that fight and is takes it as a task to destroy or expel whatever it is that is putting us in danger, is a physical manifestation of the quality of this energy center, right? If this energy center is strong, then our immune system actually also will be stronger than some other people for whom this energy center is weak. But the qualities in general of this fearlessness and of confidence are then the sort of emotional, I guess, manifestations of this energy center, the center aspect of the heart chakra. And then on the right side of the heart chakra, we have this quality of responsibility and doing the right thing. So it is in a way similar to also what we have at this level, right? That we talked last week, that in the third energy center, this level, it has to do with how we actually act in the outside world and how we treat other people and how we are able to do the right thing. So this is a slightly, a bit more elevated and a bit more inward in a way quality. So it's not just about what we do outwards, but it is more about how we feel, right? And so being able to complete or to fulfill our roles in life, being a good child, being a good parent, being a good boss, right? And being a good teacher or a good disciple. These kinds of responsibilities, but also responsibilities to our country, responsibilities to our community. All of these in their subtle form are the qualities of the right aspect of the heart chakra. Now, many of you know that when you go to, especially if you go to Hatha yoga kinds of exercises, there will be sets of breathing exercises that people do, right? And if this energy center is constricted, so if we feel heat or tingling on our pinky fingers, so the pinky fingers are have the reflections of this energy center in them. So if we feel heat and tingling in those, they indicate the constriction or the blockages in the fourth energy center. It might be a good idea to do a little bit of breathing exercises and the basic ones. And so I'll show you a very, very basic breathing exercise today, and we'll see how it works. If it works for you, feel free to do it. Now, something that is a little bit tricky about any sort of physical exercises, including the breathing exercises, is that as any sort of treatments, also the treatments that we discussed before, they are meant to bring us into the state of meditation, into thoughtless awareness. So they are a path, but they're not a destination. And so if we only continue doing those and never get to experience thoughtless awareness, that means we're just walking on the road and never reaching where we need to reach. That also means that if we are already in the state of thoughtless awareness, we do not need to do anything else because you have arrived. You can just stay there and enjoy. If instead you want to get up and keep walking around and walking around, that disturbs your state. That disturbs you having arrived at the destination. So be careful about not overdoing those, and especially that is fair about the breathing exercises. Don't replace your whole meditation with breathing exercise because that will defeat the purpose. All right. So I think at this point, it doesn't seem like there are any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free at any point to type them in the chat and I'll come back to them after we have the meditation, and we can start with meditation. All right. Now we will skip this slide of raising the energy because all of you already who are here already know how to do this. So we'll just do it together by ourselves. So we'll make sure that we're sitting comfortably. And then we'll start by bringing our left hand up from the base of the spine, and the right hand is circling around the left hand. Once we reach the top of the head, we will tie a knot. Then take our hands back down. Do this again. Left hand is going up. The right hand is swirling around the left hand. Once we reach the top of the head, we will tie 1 or 2 knots. All right. And then the third time. Once you reach the top of the head, you might want to raise your head a bit. And we tied 3 knots on top of the head the third time. All right. Now the left hand is open on our lap. The right hand goes to the left hip, and we make this movement around our body, over the top of the head, to the right and back. And we do this about 7 times. All right, very good. Now we'll place both of our hands open on our lap. Place both of our feet flat on the ground if you're sitting on a chair. You can also sit cross-legged on the floor if you're comfortable, that's also fine. And we can close our eyes. And let's see first how we are feeling. So if I feel there is still some heat or tingling in the fingers that are responsible for the lower 3 chakras, then we'll also address those. All right, so let's start by placing our right hand on the center of our stomach. And here we will ask our inner energy, our motherly energy. Oh, Mother, please balance this energy center. Please balance this Nabhi chakra. One of the qualities of this center is balance itself. So we can ask, oh, Mother, please establish balance in my life. Please transform me into a balanced personality. Please give me the ability to stay in the center and not to be easily pulled to the right or to the left. Oh, Mother, please awaken the power of evolution within me. Please give me a strong desire to grow, to become better, to reach higher with my awareness. Mother, please give me peace and satisfaction so that daily things do not distract me. Please give me the ability to be satisfied with little when it comes to daily needs. And please remove any need to indulge into excesses of any sort. All right, very good. We'll place our right hand back on our lap, and we'll place our left hand on the right side of our stomach. And here we'll ask, oh Mother, please cool down my liver and please purify my attention. Please remove any worries about the future, any thoughts of what I need to accomplish. Please remove all the stress. And instead, please settle my attention in the present. All right, very good. Now we will place our left hand back on our lap. We'll place our right hand on our heart. And here we'll ask, oh Mother, please completely awaken my spirit within me. And please let me experience my spirit. Please let me experience the unconditional love and compassion of the spirit, but the one that has no attachment, one that just flows to everyone, everything. Please let me experience the joy of the Spirit. Right? Very good. We'll place our right hand in the center of the heart chakra. So just in the center of our chest. And here we'll ask, oh Mother, please remove all of my fears, all of my insecurities completely. Please let me feel that I am protected. And please let me come to terms with the truth that I am the spirit who is eternal, can never be destroyed, can never be harmed. Please give me this feeling that I can never be harmed by anything from the outside. There's only my own ignorance that can harm me. All right, very good. We'll place our right hand back on our lap, and we'll place our left hand on the right side of our heart chakra. So the right side of our chest. And we can ask here, oh Mother, please establish the subtle righteousness within me. Please awaken within me that subtle benevolence, so that I do what is the right thing and I feel what is the right thing without any need to show off, without any need to impress anyone. Just because I enjoy this and because this is who I am. All right, very good. Can place our hands on our lap, open. Now we'll try this very simple breathing exercise. So what we will do is we will inhale slowly as much as we can. And then instead of exhaling right away, we will pause and keep all the air in. And while we're inhaling and we are pausing, we will remember that I am the spirit. And then we will slowly exhale. And while we exhale, we try to give up anything that might be disturbing us, any thoughts that are still coming in, any attachments, any fears. We just give them over and let the divine power take care of them. We remove them from our own concern. And then once we exhale completely, we will also pause before we inhale. Now, it's very important in this exercise to not strain yourself. So do it at your own pace, and you will see as time goes by, you will be able to pause for longer, but don't strain yourself so that you're uncomfortable without air or with, too much air before exhaling. So I'll go through this again. So we'll slowly exhale and then pause, remembering that we are the spirit. And then as we exhale, we try to give up anything that might still be bothering us. Then take a pause. Again, we inhale. We remember that we are the spirit. And then we pause. When we exhale, try to get rid of anything else that is not the spirit. And then we'll continue like this for a few minutes. See what happens to your attention and to the thoughtless awareness as you're doing this. You might find it easier to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. If any thoughts are still coming in, try to exhale them. Let them go as you're exhaling. And if you find that you can stay longer without inhaling at the end, after you've exhaled, don't force yourself to inhale at some artificial pace. Just feel out your own pace. You will see that everything will start slowing down. Now bring all the attention to the top of the head. See whether you are getting into the thoughtless state, whether your thoughtless state is becoming deeper. And at this point, stop being aware of your breathing. Just breathe normally. Don't think about your breathing, what you're doing, inhaling, exhaling. Just breathe normally, whatever is required. Bring your attention higher to the top of the head. Remove your attention from your breathing. You might notice that you need much less air now to breathe. So you won't need to inhale as deeply. You will just your breathing become quite much shallower. And then remove your attention from that. Bring your attention to the top of the head. Now put on a little bit of music. We can stay hopefully thoughtless while the music is playing. And try to get deeper into the silence. At this point, you don't need to be watching your breathing at all, and you don't need to be doing anything. Let your breathing happen as it's needed. And try to get deeper into that experience of the spirit, of the eternal self. At any point you realize that you have a new batch of thoughts that are coming, or some thought that is very sticky, or some emotions, feelings that are coming, you can again breathe a few times. Breathe in, remember you're the spirit, and exhale and try to surrender these thoughts or these feelings into the care of the all-pervading energy, into the care of the divine. And again, inhale, remember that you're the spirit. Exhale, while exhaling, surrender all of these things that are disturbing you. And do this for a few times, and then bring your attention back to the top of the head. All right, we can slowly open our eyes. Now let us raise our energy again. So the left hand is going up, the right hand is swirling around. We tie a knot on top of the head. Try to put full attention in what you're doing. Second time, the left hand is going up. You're inviting the Kundalini to go up. And we tie 1 or 2 knots. And the third time, we'll tie 3 knots. All right. Now the left hand is open on the lap. The right hand goes to the left hip and then swoops over the top of the head to the right hip and back. And we do this 7 times, more or less. If you do more, that's fine. If you do less, it's also fine. Usually I try to do at least 7. Now, if you don't mind, it would be great if you put in the chat whether this breathing thing worked for you. I'm just curious. It works for some people, it doesn't work for others. And also if you have any questions about the heart chakra, any questions about anything else that we have covered already or maybe have not covered yet. Our homework this week remains the same. So we try to meditate twice a day. Try to leave some time for just staying in silence, just staying in thoughtless awareness without doing anything, without putting our hand anywhere, without saying any affirmations, just leaving some time at the end to try and get into complete silence when we are just staying in silence and not doing anything. And hopefully you have started to do the foot soak on a daily basis. If you are, that's wonderful. If you're not, then try to incorporate foot soak into your daily meditation. It will make a difference. Thank you. There is a comment that the breathing exercise seemed to make meditation deeper. Thank you for that comment. Now, this kind of breathing exercise works amazingly well for the times when we feel emotionally disturbed. So I'm Ukrainian. It's difficult not to feel emotionally disturbed at some point or other in the kind of situation we are in. And I found that this probably has been the first time in my life that this kind of breathing exercise really made a huge difference. That all of that emotional disturbance, emotional turmoil, if we actually manage to surrender it to the all-pervading power while we exhale, and when we exhale, we again sort of recenter ourselves, that really works amazingly well. And also often we will comment that this works in kinds of situations when we are when we have panic attacks, right, or sudden fears and things like that. So any kinds of emotional disturbances are especially well balanced by this. And part of the reason for this is that in its essence, the breathing is in some way the activity of more of the right channel than the left channel. And then when we take the experiences of our left channel, which are the emotional experiences, and we put them together, combine them with this breathing, with the right, it sort of gives it a chance to balance more and be more effectively removed from the system. So this is something to experiment with and see how it works for you. All right, so I don't see any other comments or questions. So we will call it a day. Next week, we will be focusing on the 5th energy center here, the Vishuddhi chakra. So I'll show you at least, well, I'll show you 2 different things actually that seem to work for Vishuddhi. Actually, one thing specifically for Vishuddhi and another thing that can be done for any energy center. It's just easier for me to show on Vishuddhi because of how the camera is set up. So we will do that. And then I hope you have a good rest of the week and have nice and deep meditations. And we'll see you next week. All the best.